I feel like I need to make this video because I just see so many misleading Facebook ads videos all over YouTube that teach you methods that might work really best case in the short term, but definitely will get you nowhere in the long term. And that is very problematic, of course, because people are actually spending their hard-earned money on their ads. So in this video, I will just uncover some typical myths that are out here on YouTube and that don't really correlate with the truth. And this comes from someone who has scaled multiple brands to 7 and 8 figures in yearly sales. Now, my first point is that you have to understand you can't really scale your brand with Facebook ads. I don't mean with Facebook ads in general, but specifically with the media buying. Because people make videos on media buying, hey, duplicate this campaign, you know, there's horizontal scaling, there is vertical scaling. If you do this or that, you will scale. The truth is that no, that doesn't scale your brand. That just increases the budget, but ROAS will likely go down. You've probably experienced this very often. And neither of these, vertical or horizontal scaling, is actually working well. The only way that works is creative scaling, and I will show you right now in the ad account how we do that. So here we have an account that we are managing. You can see basically here the amount spent, the ROAS doing really well right now. Now, there are videos out there that again tell you just to, you know, duplicate a well-performing campaign, and this is how you scale, or to duplicate well-performing ad sets, but this is pretty much all nonsense. The only way how you really scale is by putting out more creatives that actually enable you to scale. Because here you can see this is the main campaign where we are testing everything and running everything. And basically what happens is that, well, of course, different ads will have different average ROAS, right? And that is because some ads sell better and some ads sell worse. But what's also important is not just the ROAS, but also the scale. Some ads perform so well that they take a lot of budget, and here you can see like, okay, this is actually the biggest amount for the last days in this account. This is more than all the other ads, and it performs at a good ROAS for this brand. At the same time, for example, this one is performing right now the last few days on a quite low ROAS for this brand, and it actually spent even less. And the reason for that is that those two ad concepts appeal to completely different people, and one group is much bigger and converts better, and the other one is smaller and converts not that well. So the only way you can really scale is making ads, like ad concepts like in here in this ad set, that are actually converting people well, and the group of people is actually big enough to sustain a big enough budget, right? So even for this ad concept, at some point it won't be able to take more budget without the performance going down. And in that case, to combat that, you just want to put out more ad concepts that perform at a good target. For example, here, this one that can actually spend more and perform well at a good ROAS, and then scale them. So technically, if you want to ask me horizontal or vertical scaling, yes, technically this is vertical scaling. But the point is that it's not just by increasing budgets, it's by putting out ads that are actually scalable without losing performance. And this is where I get to my second point you need to know. And that is the correlation between ROAS, or cost per acquisition, and the ad spend. Many people think, especially beginners, think that, hey, I have a ROAS of 4, so I convert $1 into 4. Let's just spend as much as possible on this ad. This is very dangerous, and this almost never works. And the reason for that is because there's this ROAS and ad spend correlation. Let me show you exactly what I mean by that. So the reason for that is that if you have an ad that is performing well and is shown to, let's say, this audience, now this circle represents the audience. To show the ad to this circle, let's say, to this audience, like here, you have many different people, right? The dots are the people. So to show the ad every single day to the circle, let's say you are spending $400 to show this one ad to 400 people, which is very successful, at a ROAS of, let's say, 4. Okay. Now, what you don't want to do is just assume, okay, if this is converting at 4 ROAS for these people, let's just make this circle 3 times as big, and then just spend, you know, 1,200 onto this ad, because this basically means tripling the size of the circle, and let it convert at a ROAS of 4, right? Because it's converting at a ROAS of 4, so it should also convert at a ROAS of 4 for this audience. Now, this is exactly what doesn't happen, because these people are less likely to convert. Like, Facebook always optimizes towards the best people, towards the people that are most likely to convert with the ads that you are showing to them, right? So if you go out of the circle and show the ad also to these people, they are less likely to convert, because Facebook already shows to the optimal people that will convert from this ad. This is why when you triple the budget, it's very likely that you will get to ROAS of 1.5 with this ad. And this is a big problem, and this is why most brands can't really scale. So this connects to my first point, but the important thing to know is that you only really scale by making new winning ads that are scalable within this audience. If you find an ad that, for example, sucks for this audience, but it really converts really well, like at a ROAS of 3 for this audience, right? Then, well, you scaled because, well, okay, the budget is split between, let's say this spends 800. Okay, the budget is split between 2 ads now, this 1.2K, but like you convert these with a ROAS of 4 and these people also with a ROAS of 3 because you have another ad that converts these people better but might suck for these ones. But that is irrelevant because we still have the scale and we still have an average ROAS of like 3.2. So very, very important. You don't just want to increase budget and scale. If you want to have a ROAS of like 3 and you have a ROAS of 5, then you can scale because you accept the ROAS to come down to a ROAS of 3 and you're fine with it and you're selling at a bigger scale, and this overall gets you more profit, right? You have to run the calculations and see, hey, if I sell at a ROAS that is like 2 ROAS points less essentially, but to like 3 times or 4 times more people, will I actually get more net profit or not? Usually the answer depends on your margins and your business, but usually the answer is yes. And this is why people don't want to go for a ROAS of 10, because a ROAS of 10 means, well, you can increase budget much further and then just make way more profit on a ROAS of 2 or 3. But again, this is also why people that want to have a ROAS of 3 and then they have 3 and then they scale, then they just ruin their ad account because performance just drops and then they don't know what to do because they don't even know, okay, I have to reduce the budget again for the performance to get better. This is the other thing, right? Really, really quick, let's return to this. If you want to scale, but you have a ROAS or a cost per acquisition that sucks, first of all, you want to reduce the budget, because then let's say, let's say this scenario is that this ad here doesn't exist and you just have an ad, like let's say this is reality right now. The ad spends 1.2K every single day with a ROAS of 1.5 and you don't know what to do. You don't want to turn this off. This is a very, very good ad, because if it can spend 1.2K per day on a ROAS of 1.5, then what you just want to do is reduce the budget to, let's say, $400, and then you just target way less people, but people who are way more likely to convert, and this is why ROAS goes up. And this is this ROAS ad spend correlation. If you spend less, ROAS goes up. If you spend more, ROAS goes down. And this is why like agencies that tell you, hey, you just need to spend more for us to achieve performance, like this is bullshit. The less you spend, the more likely it is to have a high ROAS. You just have to spend enough to sustain basic testing. But now let me get to the last and third point that is about media buying, and that is that you don't need many campaigns. There are many different campaign options in Facebook. You can run CBOs, ABOs, you can run cost controls or no cost controls, you can run Advantage Plus campaigns. Like there are many different options, but you only need one of them. And in this video, I won't tell you which one you need, because each of those campaigns can actually work really well for you. The important thing is just that you choose one that will work for you. If you want more information on whether you should run an ABO or CBO, check out this video. There is when I talk about it. Check out this video after this video, because here I will explain what you actually want to do from the high level. If you want to learn something about Advantage Plus campaigns, check out this video. Here I compare them to CBOs because they're quite similar. But anyway, the point is that the campaign is just doing the delivery of your ads. It won't hugely impact your performance. It is just delivering your ads that are supposed to convert people. So one campaign is really enough and even recommendable, because I've seen accounts where you have like many different like CBO tests, ABO tests, you know, oh, Advantage Plus, let's test that as well. Oh, Bitcaps, I haven't done that yet, test that as well. Well, there is a certain stage when people just test everything to find out what works best for them. That is fine, but you don't want to have that long term, because those campaigns compete against each other and actually diminish your returns. What you want to have is just one campaign per country, per product, and then test and scale there. The only thing that you want to pay attention to, that if you are selling different products and want them separated, if you're doing that on a large scale, you definitely want them separated, then of course run different campaigns. The audience will be different anyway. If you are selling in different countries, for example USA and Canada, then just have 2 different campaigns for them, because that way they are not competing against each other. You actually enable the algorithm to optimize specifically for people in the USA and then in the other campaign for Canada, so that the algorithm doesn't spend suddenly on Canada or suddenly on the US, depending on how convertibility is, but so that you can actually have 2 optimized campaigns that sell in those different countries. So basically one campaign per business objective, and don't launch like a bunch of campaigns because they will only make your performance worse, not better. Now, once you're doing all of this, your media buying is pretty much on point and you know exactly how to scale correctly with Facebook ads. The only thing that will scale you from here is again ad creatives, because creative scaling is the only way to scale without your ROAS or customer acquisition cost dropping, as I already explained in this video. And this is exactly what I help brands with. We run the ads, but we also make high performing ad creatives. So if you need help with that, check the first link in the description and schedule a call with me to discuss. Other than that, here again the 2 videos explaining ABO and CBO, or CBO against Advantage Plus, as promised in the video. Keep scaling, see you there.